What if you could end poverty? Not with welfare, but with an investment. Today, we're diving into a really radical idea, a huge experiment that wants to give every single newborn a real stake in the economy from the moment they're born. It's a plan that tries to stop poverty before it even has a chance to start.
I mean, that's the big one, right? For decades, we've tried to answer that question with aid, with safety nets, with all sorts of support programs. But what if the answer isn't about catching people when they fall? What if it's about giving them the capital they need to start climbing from day one?
And that is the fundamental shift we're talking about. There's a new policy proposal in the US that is completely flipping the script. It says, you know what? The real way out of poverty isn't just about welfare. It's about wealth. It's about ownership. Okay, so what is this radical plan? Some people have nicknamed it the Trump account, but its official name really gets to the heart of its ambition, the Universal Baby Investment Account. And make no mistake, this is a massive social experiment aimed at every single baby born in the US over a 5-year window. So the idea is actually pretty simple, but its potential is huge. Every newborn, and I mean every newborn, no matter who their parents are or how much money they have, gets a government-funded investment account with $1,000 in it. It's kind of like a 401k that you get at birth, giving every kid a tangible piece of the economy right from the get-go. So let's get into the nuts and bolts. How would this thing actually work? Let's break down the journey from birth to, well, a potential nest egg. The whole process is designed to be totally automatic. A child is born, boom, the government drops in the first $1,000. And then the real magic starts to happen. Compound interest. The beauty is, even if the parents can't add another single dime, that initial seed money is set up to just grow and grow and grow year after year until that child becomes an adult. Okay, so what's the dream here? What's the ultimate goal? Because it's not just about giving a kid some cash when they turn 18. It's about fundamentally rewriting their entire financial story before it's even written. And this is where it gets really exciting. Let's just follow the money. With zero extra contributions, that first $1,000 could easily triple by the time they're 18. By 25, you're talking enough for a reliable car to get to a job, or maybe a down payment on a home. And get this, if it's left completely untouched until retirement, it could balloon to almost $100,000. That's what upward mobility can look like when you build it into the system from the start. This quote just perfectly captures the whole philosophy, doesn't it? The idea is to tackle poverty at its root. You give a young person the resources to build a stable life before they fall into crisis. It's all about prevention, not just playing catch-up. And this right here shows you the biggest difference between this idea and what we've done in the past. Traditional welfare, for the most part, helps people consume. It helps pay for today's food, today's rent. This policy is about helping them build capital, an asset that grows over time. And that capital is what creates choices, mobility, and a real stake in your own future. And the people who support this argue the ripple effects could be huge for everyone. When you give people a financial foundation to start their lives, it doesn't just help them. It can lead to all sorts of positive things like lower crime rates, better health, a stronger economy. It literally creates new pathways to opportunity, whether that's seed money for a small business or just the freedom to make better long-term choices. Okay, but let's be real. An experiment this big, this ambitious, it's definitely not a magic bullet. It comes with some significant risks and some very, very valid criticisms. And those risks are very real. I mean, on an individual level, what happens if a family hits a major crisis and they have to pull that money out early, wiping out all the potential gains? Or, let's be honest, what if an 18-year-old without any financial education just blows the whole thing? And there's another danger. What if wealthier families can afford to add a lot more to these accounts? You could accidentally end up widening the very gap you're trying to close. And then there's the elephant in the room, the cost. How much does something like this cost? Well, to get an idea, let's look at a similar economy. To roll out a plan like this in a country like Australia, you'd be looking at almost $300 million a year. And yeah, that sounds like an absolutely massive amount of money. But context is everything. That huge number is just 0.0164% of the country's entire GDP. It's a cost that's actually on par with, and in some cases, even cheaper than, a lot of existing government programs and tax incentives. So yeah, the price tag is big, but as a slice of the economic pie, it's surprisingly small. Now, critics also make a very fair point that just writing a check isn't going to fix every deep-seated social issue. And you know what? They're right.
But the counterargument is that so much of generational poverty isn't about a lack of character, it's about a lack of access to assets. And this policy attacks that asset problem head on. So let's zoom out one last time. What is the grand vision here? If this experiment actually works, what kind of society could it help create?
Well, the grand vision is to create an entire new generation of stakeholders in the economy. Think about the post-war baby boomers. They entered adulthood with assets and opportunities, and they didn't just spend, they built the modern economy from the bottom up. The hope is that a new generation, armed with capital instead of being saddled with debt, could unleash that same kind of incredible innovation and growth.
Which brings us right back to that huge, ultimate question. Can giving every single person a birthright to capital finally be the thing that breaks the cycle of poverty? It is without a doubt one of the boldest social experiments of our time. And I guess only time will tell if ownership, instead of aid, is the answer we've all been searching for.